Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. MLW Wiffle Ball moved to Sunday for this week. We're still here on Wednesday bringing you a new episode. Jack and myself today sitting down. Jack, wave to the people from your apartment.
Hola.
Wave to them.
Hola.
Good. You should be saying aloha, not hola.
Oh, well, we're doing the Miami series, so.
That's true. I guess, yeah, that would throw people off a little bit. But I went to Miami recently. Jack just got back from Hawaii, so the boys have been traveling a little bit. And this video was a doozy. It was exciting. If you're into pitchers duels, it was crazy. And it was a fun thing to be a part of. I wish I played better. We'll talk about why that is and talk a little bit about the Mallards roster and how things are shaking out. I definitely think I gave the fans some pretty good inside scoops in this episode. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we dove pretty deep into this one. This was a fun one to break down.
It's always easy for me to dive deep when I've had time to think about it and I was involved in it. And I think this was one of the better interviews I've given from a player's perspective in a while.
For sure.
Honestly.
For sure.
So glad for you guys all tuning in again. Make sure you guys stick around to the end too, because we have Jack and I Slate 3 predictions in our Waffle House challenge, which Jack now is in the lead for. So make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end to see our predictions for Slate 3. Without further ado, this is the Pipe It Up podcast, and cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. It is just your co-host today, Jack Agner, and myself, as we are joined virtually here via Zoom for this evening's episode. Jack, thank you for hopping on the call.
Thanks, Tom. Happy to be here.
Fresh off the plane from Hawaii, which we'll get into in a little bit with Jack, but he just had a pretty cool vacation, I would like to assume, so we'll have to talk about that before we wrap up here.
We'll talk about it at the end.
Okay, sounds good. But, we got to talk Miami. That was the series, the video, the first Sunday upload for MLW in who knows how long, probably a very, very long time. And what a series for better, for worse, what a series is all I can really say about it. I'm honored to have been a part of it. Just being able to play on an MLB field like that with MLW was super cool, and I think a long time coming. So thrilled that it was a reality, and I'm happy I could be a part of it. I'm disappointed I didn't play better, of course, and disappointed in the series outcome, but overall, just a really cool experience. And Jack, I want you kind of just to talk through what it was like taking it in on video.
Yeah, I would say just comparing it to some of our other special series in-person events, obviously it didn't seem like we had the large, crowd numbers there that we've had in typical events, but the setup of the stadium or the setup of our field and where it was in the stadium and just the general concept of playing on an MLB stadium, I mean, that's really tough to beat. That's been a goal of ours for a really long time. And to finally accomplish that and do it at such a cool park like Lone Depot, it was awesome. It was a cool video, 40-minute video, like you mentioned, Tom, a bruiser, the extra upload. I mean, that series, if it was played at the Meadows, that video might have ended up being like an hour and a half long, because it did not seem like that game one was going to end anytime soon. Yeah, that's good allusion there to our comment of the week. But, I mean, there's something about Norp versus Robles. When those two go toe-to-toe, special things seem to happen. We went 0-0 with the D-backs back in the postseason of 2022 to, I think, the 8th inning in that one. We went 7 here. Probably would have went longer if there had not been a time crunch and the Miami staff kind of harping on us what's going on here. So, really, that first game was sort of putting a limit on ourselves because we're looking at the clock saying we have our 3-hour block here. Yeah. And they have a game tonight. It wasn't like we had the field all day to ourselves. So their staff was chomping at the bit to get on the field to do their normal routine. And so we were almost halfway through our allotted time, and it was still game one. So then Kyle had to make the call all right, let's load the bases here to get things moving. And it was when Robles got out of that inning, I was so hyped when he didn't give up a run. I was amazed that he was able to pull that off. That was unbelievable. I mean, he was just dealing out there. I did want to ask a couple questions just on in general. The video was great, but it looked like it possibly could have been maybe a little bit dark in that corner of the stadium. Do you think that the batters were affected at all by like the lighting playing inside that stadium? Because I mean, we've played indoors before, but this was like a unique kind of setup. I don't know if that played a factor at all.
You know, I was thinking about that a little bit as the day was going on, even watching the video or on the plane ride home. Like, man, the offenses just could not get going. These are usually good offenses. And number one, I don't want to say it was all because of the stadium, the atmosphere, the lighting, the backdrop, like the batter's eye backdrop, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to point the finger at that because, Jack, like I said, Norp and Robles have done this before.
Yeah.
So they've done it at the Meadows. From a hitter's perspective, I didn't see it as a big issue. We did not take BP on the field, so that's one thing that probably didn't play to a hitter's advantages. But we did take some swings beforehand in the outfield. And, you know, I actually thought I was seeing the ball better than I saw it on opening day. I kind of told you on opening day I felt a little bit lost out there, and it wasn't hard for me to it wasn't difficult for me to, I think I hit Matt for myself in that first series because I just felt like I was not picking up the ball well, wasn't putting good swings on the ball. My pitch selection was terrible. Even though results-wise I was just as bad, if not worse, in Miami, I was putting the bat on the ball, and I felt like I was having decent at-bats up there and fighting. But Norp, I mean, he's good. You know, he had that screwball working. The ball was definitely moving a lot left to right, coming towards the right-handed hitters in that series. Jordan had it working really well, and it's a tough pitch to hit because, yeah, the two-seamer is becoming more and more popular in MLW, but it still is more foreign than a riser or a slider. And when it's wicked like that, you know, it's not something a lot of our guys have seen before, and it's tough to get the bat off your shoulder in some of those instances when it looks so far outside. And then you guys see all those strikeouts on YouTube where like a guy is chasing a pitch inside. It's like, what is he doing? It's like, well, what you don't see is earlier in the count, he probably took 2 strikes that hit off the tin, and then he's in a tough spot. So
yeah,
the pitchers were ahead in a lot of counts, and that was my issue too. Really, like I said, I was putting bat on ball, but I've been having to. Let me know if this makes sense to you, Jack, as a non-baseball guy. But I've been really having to try to hit a pitcher's pitch rather than try to hit the pitch that I want to hit because I've been down in the count in almost like every at-bat this season. I haven't been able to pick out those sliders and risers early in counts and put a good swing on them and hit the ball hard because people aren't really giving them to me anymore, and I can't blame them for that. I just got to figure out how to adjust. But that was a really long-winded Sawyer Bean answer. But
yeah, well, follow-up question to that, I guess, like why do you think you're getting into those situations where you're down in counts early?
I don't have a problem sharing this. I'm an open book, and again, it takes me personally to adjust and to get better, but it's not really a secret. I've told a lot of players in the league once I started to get better last year or 2 years ago, like, what have you been changing? Like, how have you been able to hit so many home runs? 0 right now, by the way, guys. 1 hit this year, but these past 2 years I've been hitting with a lot of power, and it's because, Jack, I've been very, very selective in what I've been swinging at early in counts.
Mm-hmm.
So these past few years, pretty much if I wasn't getting a singular pitch in an 0-0 count, a 1-0 count, 2-0 count, 3-0 count, or even 2-1, 3-1, I was probably going to take that pitch. And it's played to my favor because, again, I've been really looking for and focusing on one pitch. And, yeah, my batting average has dropped sub 300 the past couple seasons, but I've been hitting a lot of balls out of the yard because I'm taking confident swings at pitches that I'm specifically looking for. I'm not going up there and guessing.
Yeah.
So this season so far, with both Sawyer and Jimmy, they've been able to beat me in those early pitches by throwing strikes with those screwballs, the super drop from Sawyer, Jimmy's 2-seam. So I've been kind of using the same strategy that's been successful for me in the past, which is being selective early in counts. But instead of me being ahead in the count 1-0 or 2-0 or hitting a home run on one of those first few pitches, I've been down 0-1 or 0-2 and then having to try to hit a pitch that I don't necessarily like and have a lot of success off of.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your comment about kind of what the viewers might not see or what they don't see in the video, because I was watching with a similar kind of thought, like, man, everybody's just chasing. Like, yeah, they're getting a lot of strikeouts, but like nothing's hitting the tin. I mean, there were some crazy pitches for sure, but the Diamondbacks especially, I felt like every pitch or every strikeout in that first game was just an inside screwball that they were all fanning on. And it was like at some point you got to like not swing. And then actually Jimmy ends up getting on base. He gets walked and gets on base. And I remember kind of thinking like, well, there we go. Finally, like, someone's not swinging. But I see what you're saying and that was kind of my thought, you know, after reflecting on it a little bit is what we're not seeing is probably Jordan throwing that same exact pitch 3 or 4 times before that strikeout. And it was, you know, around the zone or for a strike. And they either looked at it or they swung and maybe got a piece, you know, got a foul ball or something like that. But that pitch especially is just so hard to leave because the pitch that ends up being the strike from a right-handed batter, when it leaves the pitcher's hand, it looks so far outside. Like it looks so far away from you. And then it just comes in so late and hits the board. So those ones that finish inside, I mean, they look meaty. Like they look coming in like it's something, you know, you're confident that you can take out of the yard, and then all of a sudden you're getting jammed.
Yeah, that was probably the best I've seen Robles throw, just because, again, it's all about command. In wiffle ball, we see pitchers, Jack, time and time again, that get wild, and you can also be effectively wild, like what you were seeing from Jordan, in a sense that he was intentionally throwing those pitches inside to get his strikeout pitch because he was locating so well early in the count.
Right.
When you're pitching ahead of hitters, just like me being the hitter who was struggling, the same situation for the D-backs hitters, it's just a different game. You're not trying to go out there and throw a strike. You're throwing the exact pitch you want and where you want it. So when Jordan is dotting 2 straight screwballs or a screwball and a riser, you know, on the pipe to make it 0-2, it's like when you see that pitch coming even a little bit on the outer half, it's so hard to take that when you're down to your last strike in an at-bat, you know? So yeah. I think it's really easy for me in right field, for Kyle behind the camera, to you guys watching at home, to the fans that were sitting in the crowd in the outfield to be like, why are these guys chasing that pitch? But it's all about the setup that led up to it, and it's just a tough pitch to hit. Jordan's is very flat. Jimmy's comes a little bit more down, but it's a flat 2-seamer, and it was really working for him. The ball was moving a lot, and he was comfortable out there, clearly, and he's a guy who does, when he's confident in himself, he's, you know, as good as he gets, so that's what we saw.
Yeah. It's always funny, too, like, I just feel like it's Murphy's Law, right? It's like what can go wrong will go wrong. Like, we haven't had a game that long all season, and then, of course, like, the special series that, you know, we got a time, we're on a time crunch for, the first game goes 7 innings, like, of course that would happen. It felt like it was literally, you know, obviously you guys win that first game, but it felt like it's not who's going to win this game, it's like who's going to lose this game. You know what I mean? Like who's going to make the mistake. And it wasn't even like Jimmy threw a bad pitch or anything, but Jorgie was able to knock one in there and get that walk-off single for a big win. I mean, I feel like that's a win that you guys are going to look back on, you know, regardless of what happens here going into the postseason, and realize, you know, that was definitely a big win.
Yeah, again, I was definitely feeling frustrated. Just like you go 7 innings and don't get a hit and are popping the ball up, grounding out. And our guys were really, comparatively to the D-backs, we still struck out a fair amount, but we were putting the bat on the ball a lot more than they did.
Yes.
And Jorgie has been doing that all season. Poor Jorgie didn't get a hit in the first series and had a bunch of fielders' choices and stuff like that. So I was really happy that he was the guy that, you know, he had a shot up the middle and got us the W. And it felt good. I was like exhausted from that first game and happy to be moving on, but I was glad that we came out on top in that one. And, you know, when you're sitting at 3-1, you just beat a great team in a crazy game. It's a great feeling, but we only were able to enjoy it for about 2 minutes tops till game 2 started.
Yeah, I guess I just want to kind of let you have the floor here and talk about what you thought of Davenport's performance and just overall the team's performance there in game 2.
Honestly, Jack, Davenport did fine. I mean, I'm not going to say he went out there and like exceeded my expectations, but, you know, that's a lot of I've put him in very tough spots here. His 2 starts were one in Philly in front of a massive crowd, and then back on the main stage in Miami, and like having not pitched in between in game situations at all. Yeah. So I was like, dude, like, you've earned this start. Go out there, try to enjoy it. You know, we joke about last season how like there was some funky plays and he gave up a lot of runs and it got kind of ugly, but I was like, if you walk one guy to start the game, don't let it rattle you. 2, don't let it rattle you. Like, try to settle in, figure it out, and, you know, throw well, because I've seen you throw well in practice many times. So that's pretty much exactly what he did, to be honest. He walked a few to start, got the jitters out, figured it out, and, you know, an unfortunate play. You're playing on turf. Jorgie's trying to make a play. I'm not going to fault him for it. Misses the peg. The ball rolls through the turf. 3 runs come across. Like, that's a tough way to stomach 3 runs right there. They were off of walks, of course, so that's how you're beating yourself up when you're walking guys. But then the second inning, he comes out, puts up a scoreless frame. The first time he's done that in a few years. So, like, I was proud of his efforts, and I think, like, he took the whole, like, worst pitch ever like a total champ. I mean, like, putting on, Kyle grabs the microphone. It was funny. You guys saw me laughing. There is a sequence of photos. I might even send them to PB because if he could string them together for you guys to see. But it's one of probably my favorite MLW professional photo sequences of all time. It's like Davenport and me, like, tipping our caps to the crowd and laughing after that bad pitch. And our photographer, like, captured a bunch, like, probably 10 photos in a row of that moment. And it's, like, so memeable and so funny. And I've been joking about it with Davenport ever since. But, nah, Jack, I was very much okay with his performance. I think I saw some comments. I even got some DMs about how I should have threw Jorgie. I talked to Jorgie beforehand about that, why Davenport was going to be the guy, because he had earned it and things of that nature, and I wanted to give him a shot. I also felt more comfortable in Jorgie throwing strikes versus Davenport. So if Davenport went out there and truly couldn't find it, I probably would have given him 1, maybe 2 more walks in that first inning. I would have felt more comfortable with Jorgie going in behind him versus, say, starting Jorgie and then trying to close with Davenport.
Yeah.
I would feel a little bit less comfortable with. And for the record, too, had we have taken the lead or been in a situation to close a game there, I had already told Jorgie that unless Davenport's, like, throwing a perfect game, you're going to close out the second game. So he was going to get an opportunity. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think, like...
What'd you think? I mean, you watched.
Yeah, I would say your analysis was pretty spot on. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It was kind of what you would typically expect out of, like, the number 3 or so arm on the team. I mean, credit to him for coming in, like you said, on that stage. You do have a knack for just putting him in the best situations, which is funny, but
great management, huh?
Yeah, Kyle did him dirty on that pitch. I will say, though, I think he's overtaken the meme of me throwing that duck hook pitch away now. I think that belongs to Brendan. So yeah, I mean, that one was kind of just like you knew that the Mallards would probably have to score more than what they did, in game 2 to win that game anyway. Yes. I think what was the final? Was it 3-0?
3-0, yep.
So I mean,
scored in that weird ground ball. So really, he didn't do too bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, he lets up 3 runs. That's pretty good. I mean, ultimately, I think the Mallards have got to kind of support him there in that game if you guys were expecting to win that one. So I think for him it was a positive outing.
I agree 100%. I know he was hungry to bounce back from Philly because he's like, yeah, my friends and family, and like he coaches his team, his players. I'll give him crap for that outing and how it went. So he wanted a shot at it. And again, he really had earned that opportunity given, let me just speak transparently here. Like, Davenport is essentially the sole reason that I was able to get a lot better these last couple of years, because he was kind enough and, we enjoy hanging out together and stuff. But like, we go to the field, he pitches to me, I attempt to pitch to him, but I don't think offensively, like, he gets that much out of the experience as practicing with me. I pitched actually pretty good to him last year. This year's been a totally different story. It's been so bad. I've totally lost the arm. But, yeah, like, I go out there and everyone's like, Tommy's like playing so good, blah, blah, blah. And I don't feel guilty about it, but I would not have progressed as a player as I have if it was not for him going out and practicing with me. And I've never heard a peep from him complaining about, like, not getting playing time or, like, the situation I just explained. He's been, like, so great about it, comes to all the series and supports. So you play in a stadium like that, and this is MLW, right? We're a homegrown backyard league now turned into a big audience. But everyone who made that trip, I wanted to get an opportunity, and I couldn't. And, like, Jorgie was already going to hit in all 3 games. He was going to close that game. I was like, this is Davenport's moment. Go out there, pitch good. Like, this could be an awesome thing for you if you go out there and, like, get a win or throw really well. And again, all things considered, he was very close to that. It was the first 3 hitters, and that was it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and
I'm not gonna give, like, charity starts to anybody, obviously, but again, I've seen him throw in practice, and he is pretty good in practice.
Yeah, like you've said, I mean, he's been putting in the work, and from everything I've heard, like, it sounds like he earned it. Like I said, I think that's about what you would expect from him. So yeah, and that's probably not what you would expect from the Mallards offense in game 2.
I mean, we're just not getting it done right now. Jorgensen's putting the ball in play. He actually would have had a home run in this series, probably at the Meadows. We'll talk about that in a second, I guess. But we're putting bad on ball, all of us, really. Like, top to bottom, I'm actually, for a team that has scored almost no runs in 6 games, from top to bottom, we're putting a lot more bad on ball than we have in the past couple years. Yeah. However, the past few years, me and Robles have been hitting home runs every other inning. You know what I mean? And that hasn't been the case this year. So that's really, really shown on the scoreboard big time.
I mean, I think we should comment on Matt Carlington. And although I believe he only recorded 1 hit in the series, it felt like he was putting a bat on ball like almost every time he got up there, or at least very consistently. I mean, you can just tell that he's seeing it very well. I think even Kyle made a comment in the video at one point that he was probably seeing it the best out of all the Mallards. And I think we should note that for sure.
For sure. And a couple comments I want to make. One's going to stir some drama up, but it's just true.
Oh, here
so
we
number
go.
one, Jack, is
about Sawyer and Drew?
No, I wish. That would get more clicks than what I'm going to say probably. But Matt practices with Jimmy all the time. They live in the same city.
Yeah.
So he's very familiar with Norp's arsenal. So that helps him a ton in that series, and that's why he played a lot. And number 2, he's just a good hitter. His swing is better looking than mine. He did play college baseball for a year. So Matt can hit the ball. I think he's proven that. He hit a home run in Philly last year. He hit a home run off Jordan Robles in fast pitch wiffle ball last year at some point, which is very impressive. And so, yeah, he's seeing it well right now. Jorgie's seeing it well. Robles put some good swings on the ball. I'm by far the worst right now. And to be honest, Jack, we didn't have Preston there. Yeah. And this really sucks because I want to win and I want to turn this thing around, and I'm going to keep trying to do so. But if I don't, I'm going to give myself another shot. We play you guys in the next series in about a week's time in real time here. If I don't produce against the Magic, Jack, there is a very good chance after the All-Star break, it's going to be Robles, Jorgensen, P. Colm, and Matt. I mean, that's just this team deserves to win. We're so talented. Dude, I have 1 hit in 6 games. Like, that's not cutting it. I'm sorry.
I know.
But that is not cutting it.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here, Tom, so it seems like
this podcast is just washed.
It seems like this Mallards Magic series has a lot of implications because I told my guys probably the same thing as what you have told your guys, that I want to reward the people who are producing and getting it done. And right now that ain't me either. So it seems like you and I both got a lot to prove this series. So a little game within the game.
Do, but it's just like, what do I do? I mean, I want to win, and it's not like I've been slacking off on the practicing. I've still been getting out there like I was last year, trying to get the boys together, but just not getting it done right now.
Maybe we should side bet some like do a different type of challenge for who can get a hit first in the series, or the most hits or something. Then we'll have some,
Jack. Let's try and get 1 hit. That'd be an improvement from where we're at right now.
I know.
But no, I watched the video back compared to opening day. My swing looked more confident, looked better. Again, I only struck out half the at-bats, and the rest were all popped up or grounded out and things of that nature, but just not hitting the ball hard is really what it's coming down to. And it definitely sucks. Like I said, I want to win so bad, and there's no better feeling than putting in the work and getting rewarded for it. And I was lucky enough for that to be the reality in the past, but right now it's just not cutting it whatsoever. And I have a great offense, I think. Like I said, Matt's seeing it really well right now. Preston, I think, has a ton of potential, and I think I'd rank myself right now at probably number 5 or even 6 on the team. It sucked. Did I want to hit a home run in Miami to walk off Game 3? 100%, but you guys saw Kyle cut away to that extra shot that Ethan got of me kind of tossing my bat to the side and just giving a big sigh after my last strikeout because I knew, I can't hit anymore. It's got to be Davenport. I got to give someone else a chance in this game. So, and what did he do? I think he walked twice. So he got on base 2 more times than I did in his limited opportunities. So, I think I did the right thing. Kyle likes to tell me, but dude, in the big moments, you've produced, it's a different thing when the bright lights are on versus practice. And I agree with him to an extent, but Like right now, it ain't happening. So I mean, the season's only so long. How long do we milk this thing?
Yeah. No, I kind of feel the same way. I was looking at my statistics compared to last year for through the first 2 games. Pretty comparable, honestly. More comparable than I thought, but I'm definitely getting on base more than I was last year. And I think it's because I've sort of tried to take a similar approach to what you've been describing that helped you last year or led to a lot of your success last year. And that's just helping me walk more because I'm just swinging it less. Before I was like a lot more, I guess, apt to swing like early in the count. And now with like trying to hunt like really just waiting on like certain pitches, I haven't seen a lot of those pitches. And like the ones that I have seen, I haven't capitalized on them, like the first series, I had like a few, I think I had one like high foul ball. And then like another, I had another like long foul ball that like had the home run distance, but it wasn't. And like, those are the opportunities where it's like, you gotta capitalize on them. Like if you're going with that approach, you have to capitalize on them when you see them. As opposed to like, I feel like a guy like Jimmy Norp, he's so good with his hands at the plate that he can kind of be a little bit more reactive and just like hit what he sees coming. And yeah, so I don't know, Tom, we'll see. It's interesting. It's interesting what we have developing here on the Pipe It Up podcast, considering the fact that we might both be benching ourselves in the near future. So stay tuned, folks.
Oh, how the turntables. But no, Jack, like I said, that approach works when you're very confident and you're hitting the ball hard consistently, which I have been in years past. I use that word execute all the time, right? And we go back to last year's NLCS, which is like my last bright spot at this point. And yes, there was a moment in that series when we were down by 1. I go up to bat in the last inning with a chance to walk it off. And considering in my previous at-bat, I was sitting on Dallas's little like overhand drop ball, and I hit a home run. I was like, he is going to come at me with a riser in this at-bat, and I cannot miss it. If it is there, I'm going to get one. 'Cause I'm going to swing at it, and if he sees me take a good swing and foul it off or whatever, he's not going to give me another one.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows I like risers and sliders better. Dallas knows that. It's not a secret. But I was like, given that I hit a home run, he's probably going to switch it up and throw me a riser, and I have to hit it. And I'm saying this to myself that whole leading up to the next inning. And what do? I go up there, first pitch, I get a drop ball for a strike, I take it, don't even move. Second pitch, he throws a riser, and I hit a home run. Like, it's like you just have to execute, which is so hard to do. But if you're confident and you put in the time and you don't overthink things, like you got to really believe in yourself that you can do it, and then it'll happen. So in that moment, I was able to execute. This year, I haven't even been in the spots to like get those pitches. And it just hasn't worked. I've been beat. My philosophy in the past was I'm going to make this guy beat me. Well, right now the guys are beating me. Yeah. So that's what's happening right now, big time. But I've been very negative about it, I guess, speaking now, because I'm just being honest with everybody at home, because it does suck to like go out there and not play great. Yeah. Do we have a great time out there? Of course. So you guys saw us like dancing on the boat cruise we did, and we went to the beach, had some meals together, of course, had fun in the hotel room, like recorded a podcast. Like, it was a great time. It was a great weekend, and the weather was beautiful. It was scorching hot, but like walking by the beach, it was breezy and stuff like that. And it was a great trip nonetheless. But you go there and you want to play good on the big stage, of course. You want to go out there and remember great memories. Like, the bar was set so high for myself, given I played so great in Philly, that this was just the exact opposite. I wish I could have like meshed those two experiences together a little bit and had like 2 home runs in Philly and 2 in Miami, but not the reality.
Nope. That's okay though. On to the next one. The Mallards or the Magic series is going to be huge for both teams.
It's a big tilt coming up in a few weeks here on the channel to probably wrap up Slate 3, I think. I believe that's what the case will be.
Both teams and both managers. I did want to comment on Game 3. Obviously goes into extras again. Time crunch. I think we started loading the bases in the 5th inning instead of
correct.
Game 1 was the 7th. Robles, he just he just walked too many guys. He kind of struggled to find the zone there in the 5th inning. Why did that happen all of a sudden? Because like it seemed like watching the video, you could almost like tell there was just like a change in his body language, and it was like very obvious from the first walk that he had in that inning that like it seemed like he just had no more confidence at all. And I was curious if there was anything kind of that we didn't see in the video that would give us some more insight into that.
Again, kind of like what I just said about how when he's confident and he trusts his stuff, he's as good as it gets. I think the opposite remains true too in terms of when he loses that confidence, the wheels can fall off the bus pretty quickly. What I said to Robles in Game 1 when the bases started loaded, I was like, dude, they're going to have the exact same situation in the bottom half of the inning. So I was like, if you walk a batter, you cannot like look at that run as like, oh my God, we're losing now 1-0. Like, yeah. One walk is a one walk, like, or one hit's one hit. You have to treat this like you're just chasing the 3 outs like any other inning. Don't let the scoreboard discourage you. And I think getting that first out in that 7th inning in Game 1 was huge for his confidence. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think in the 5th inning of Game 3, I gave him that exact same speech, like, yo, just like I said before, don't worry about it if they get one. Not a big deal. Like, you got to focus on the next hitter. But I think that first hitter did walk in this situation. I think that did throw off his psyche a little bit. So it's hard. It's one thing for me to say it and for him to think it. Another thing when it's reality and you're down a run to actually then try to lock it in again. So that clip that Kyle included of him just pumping one in there 90 miles an hour, was that just like it ended up being a really cool clip because he kind of threw that like way off speed pitch for a strike, but was that just like pure frustration from him? Just like, I'm just going to throw this and I know I'm going to get an automatic ball. I didn't talk to him about it, but I think he was ahead of Bennett at that point 0-2. So I think it actually was more of like I think he was frustrated. It was a combination of frustration, like, dang, we're down in a hole now, but also like, I'm going to have some fun here and try to have a cool strikeout. I think it was a combination of those two things.
Got it.
Like, I don't think he would have done that if the game was still 0-0, but I think it was a fun, like, oh, we're down by 3 or 4. Let me have some fun here and try to make a cool strikeout. And he did. So
yeah, it was cool.
That's what I think.
Very cool.
So, but you want to hear some numbies, Jack?
Yeah, give me some numbies.
So some numbies on the series. The D-backs take it 2 out of 3. Pitching. You ready for this?
Yep.
Robles, 12 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 32 strikeouts, 7 walks.
Yeah.
I say 1 earned because those bases loaded runners don't count as earned runs.
Yep.
So 1 earned in 12 innings with 32 strikeouts. So he recorded 36 outs, 32 of them were strikeouts.
That's crazy.
Jimmy Norp goes 11 1/3 innings pitched, also 1 earned run, 19 strikeouts, and 7 walks. So not quite as strikeout heavy, but still only 1 earned run in 12 innings is remarkable. And I got to say that Fuzzy Frank last week was right. Norp striking us out, high strikeout total. I think he said only 1 run on the day for the Mallards. That pretty much ended up being true. And actually, like, exactly was true against Norp because we had that first game run and that was it. So Fuzzy Frank nailed it with Jim's performance. But it's just 2 good arms, man. Those guys love to duel and they have fun playing against each other. I know it's like an ongoing. That's like a D-backs Mallards is definitely a rivalry, but Norp versus Robles is like a rivalry of itself.
Yeah. When we look at the pitching numbers at the end of the year, or whenever we get an update for like whoever's leading in strikeouts, we'll definitely have to look back on this series for Robles because like that 32 number is just absurd. I mean that is crazy.
Yeah, there's been league leaders in the past that have like high 70s in the season. He's got 32 in one series. So
yeah,
I would expect him to probably lead strikeouts this year in the league just from this series alone, but we'll see.
Yep.
Offensively, I wanted to mention that the Mallards, again, I'm happy with how we've been hitting. Sort of, I guess, just the power numbers have not been there. We only have 1 home run this season, and that was the one that was tipped over the fence against the Gators, so not really any home runs. I have 1 hit this year, Jack, and that was on a 3-0 count, which, again, I got my pitch that I was looking for, so it worked. But 1 hit for me versus last year through 2 games, or 2 slates, rather. I had those 2 home runs on opening day, a couple knocks against the Wildcats, so much different story. And the D-backs offense as well really struggled. Pishka surprised me. He was very quiet on the day. A lot of strikeouts for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was odd for the Diamondbacks. I mean, you're used to seeing one of those guys kind of step up for them. Jimmy's obviously kind of the known. He's going to be a tough out every time, but you're normally good for like a Heath home run or a Pishka home run or at least putting a bat on a ball, and they were just so quiet all day long. So I think that's kind of a bit irregular for the D-backs. I don't really think we'll see a series like that again for them. But like, yeah, I don't think it's really something to be concerned about for the D-backs, but I mean, especially because they were able to get 2 wins out of the series.
Yeah, and the field didn't help either. It was a little deeper than the Meadows. I think in this series, Pishka would have had a homer. I think Norp would have had a homer. I think Jorgensen would have had a homer as well. So that was also definitely a factor in the low-scoring games. But, yeah, I think it was just a reality check for both offenses. Like, wow, we need to figure out how to hit a screwball type thing.
Right, yeah. Same.
I also wanted to mention, obviously, as we saw, us having Preston is huge from not only his offense, but his arm is a big, big part of our campaign this year. So hoping that he did unfortunately get eliminated from his high school baseball playoffs. I think they lost in the quarterfinals, but a great run nonetheless for his squad. He's only a sophomore playing on varsity, which at his school is pretty impressive. So congrats to Preston and the squad on a good year, but we're excited to have him back, hopefully for the remainder of the season. In the green, yellow, and black and white for the Mallards. So we missed him out there, but couldn't fault him for not making it.
No, he's got to show out for his team.
Any final comments, Jack, from you?
I don't think so. I think we hit pretty much everything on this series. Great video, great series. It's fun to watch. Good job, Kyle.
Yeah, if you're into pitchers duels, it was cinema. But let's bounce now to the comment of the week. And Jack, like I said, you alluded to this earlier, but it comes from Llama the Goat. And they said, if only that Norp Robles duel happened at the Meadows and not Miami. Game 1 was going 10-plus innings, and I would have eaten it up. Absolutely insane stuff. I don't know. I mean, what's the record in MLW? 11 innings? Was that Eagles Cobras?
Yeah.
I forget.
I think it was around 11. I mean, the way that game was going, like Robles could have got to 50 strikeouts. I mean, yeah, the one reason I say it might have gone the distance like that is because, again, the fences were deeper than the Meadows, so it wasn't like one swing of the bat was going to be that easy to do. That may have actually played a factor in the series, Jack, as guys trying to hit home runs, because, again, in Philly, no one was thinking about it because the fences were so short, and I ended up launching the ball. Yeah.
But in Miami, you kind of knew you had to get some additional juice on it to get it out of there, so people may have been overswinging a little bit. Something to think about.
I guess one comment, we've seen MLW adapt obviously as the years have gone on. At what point do we just put a guy on second like they do in the MLB? Like because doesn't the MLB do that like right away in the 10th inning?
They do now. I think they adopted that last season or the year before. I don't recall.
Yeah.
I think it creates some excitement. I don't know for MLB I like the guy on second, I think, but in MLW, would a guy on second really do it, though? To be honest, when the pitcher's just going strikeout, it's like, I almost like the pressure of having the bases loaded so that way one walk is like detrimental. But
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I get that. I guess it almost just seems unfair. You know what I mean? Like to the pitcher, where he's been, both of them have been doing so great. I mean, that's not true. You don't even know if it's a pitching duel. I mean, you could go into extras and it be 4-4 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's like if you get to that point, I don't know. The base is loaded. Like I said, it kind of seems like it's not really who's gonna win the game. It's like who just like makes the mistake. And whereas like if you put a guy on second, you could be really disciplined at the plate and get 2 walks and get that guy around. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit like harder to do. And it doesn't necessarily like, I mean, when you load the bases, it's like you're pretty much saying like we're deciding the outcome of this game like this inning. And if you put
you never know.
I mean, you never know, but like like the probability of it is pretty high. And if you put a guy on second, I don't really think the probability of like a run, I don't know, that should be something for Stat Sean. If there's a guy on second with no outs, what's the expected like run?
Yeah, that's a great question.
What's
Jack.
the expected like run amount like in an inning?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely higher than having nobody on, but that'd be. I don't know if he can get us that number, but if he could, that'd be awesome.
If there's anyone that can do it, it's Sean.
I'm gonna say, what are you gonna predict, Jack? I'm gonna say if a runner starts on second base, I'm gonna say the expected runs per inning is going to increase by. I'm gonna say it increases by 0.2. That's it.
Oh, I was gonna say it's definitely less than 1, but I was gonna say it was closer to 1, like probably like 0.75 or like 0.8. If you have no outs, and a guy on second, I mean, you should be able to get him around. I feel like more times than not he would get around. I don't know. That's for Sean to tell us.
That's for Sean to tell us. Maybe Frank could figure it out as well. But it's a good question, honestly, guys. I ask you guys to comment all the time on these podcasts for feedback, but I really mean it this time, and I want to know what you want to see on the channel. Do you enjoy seeing us like throw runners on base like that to end a game, or do you want to see the 4-hour duel between Robles and a Norp? Like, what's more enjoyable as a fan? I think the opinions would differ. Part of me kind of likes the idea of putting runners on base to spice it up a little bit. I don't know. I'm torn about it, I guess.
Here's what, like, I'll play devil's advocate, like, with myself. The putting the runner on is like excitement, right? It's just an added thing of, hey, all right, we're starting with a guy on second. If you don't put a runner on and you go, 8 innings or whatever, that to me is like you're like really deciding like who earned that win. You know what I mean? It's like,
you are. No, you are. You are.
It's like there's no debate. Like they won that game for sure. And not like it's like, the win doesn't count if you put a guy on second base or the bases are loaded. But just like grinding out that win is like there's no question, like no doubt, they earned whatever team it was, like they earned that victory.
Yeah, it's an absolute battle. I definitely don't think Kyle will ever change it in the postseason, but I know like it can create timing problems when we're in different venues depending on what's going on that day with the venue or how the contracts are set up and things of that nature. It can create a huge editing issue for Kyle, which I feel for him in, but that's his thing. So there's definitely pros and cons to it, but I'm just curious, from ignoring time constraints, ignoring editing constraints, ignoring all of that, like, do you guys like to see the never-ending duel, or would you like to see more of what we did in Miami, I guess what I'm trying to say. Please leave your feedback, and I'll skim through it, and we'll recap next week's pod. Jack, let's jump now into, want to do fuzzy numbers first, then Waffle House talk?
Yeah, let's do it.
We got to do our predictions, so let's do a quick fuzzy numbers. And fuzzy numbers, of course, is brought to you by our friends over at ShedBall. Join the $1,000 Pick'em Challenge with ShedBall. Subscribe to their YouTube channel and register at ShedBall.com to get to know the players and the GMs this summer. The tournament field will be finalized in late August. Make your picks by September 13th for a chance to pick a perfect slate and win. Again, subscribe on YouTube and then head over to ShedBall.com. That's ShedBall.com. If those of you that are awaiting that $1,000 challenge, I've been informed by the commissioner, who we'll hear from in just a second, that it'll roll out sometime in August. So now take it away, Tim and Fuzzy Frank.
Thanks, gentlemen. Fuzzy Frank back in the win column after predicting the D-backs would take the Miami series. And he'd like to let the world know that he is someone that can be counted on. He's as reliable as a TC3 voice crack in a clutch situation. And now, on the table before him, he's got the Wildcats, Kyle Schultz, the GOAT, leading the Cats into Harbor in Brooklyn without their best sailor. And they're facing off against the bat flipping Boa and his den of Cobras. The question before us, can the Cobras finally win their first series of this MLW season? As the Brooklyners would say, forget about it. He's got the Wildcats winning 2-1. Strangely, he's predicting each game ends 3-1. I'm not sure if that's happened before in MLW, but that's what he's got going for us. 3-1 games. Wildcats take it 2-1.
Oh, Frank, I got a bone to pick with you, buddy. Actually, more so Tim. Tim's really called me out, but nah, it's all fun.
I don't think Fuzzy Frank is learned enough to write that dialogue himself. So that was all 10
I don't
there.
know, Jack. You can't underestimate Frank. Frank's pretty good at picking these games. He's only got one series wrong so far. And I'm going to tail him here as well. We'll give our predictions in a second, but I think the Cats do win this series, and I'd like to think you agree.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely take Cats 2-1.
All right. Oh, you're going to go Cats 2-1? Okay, I think I'm going to do Cats 3-0, so we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But other than that, 3-1 games. I'm going to say I might fade that a bit, Jack. I mean, that's fairly high scoring, 4 runs a game. I'm going to say that there's one game here, given it's the Cobras playing in the out-of-state series. Think back to St. Louis. I think one of these games is going to be like double digits for one team, high-scoring game.
Yeah.
A little sloppy probably. Some Drew theatrics. So I'm going to say maybe we get 1 or 2 3-1 games. I'm going to say one of these games is going to have north of 4 runs big time.
I agree with that. I'm gonna have to fade the all games being 3-1. I feel like that has happened before. It is kind of like a common score. I feel like in MLW, but
wouldn't be a scoregami by any means.
No, definitely not a scoregami. But when you get the Cobras, it feels like you're due for one scoregami, especially in an out-of-state series.
Yes.
So I agree. I think there'll be one game that definitely doesn't fall into the 3-1.
There's got to be some fanatic out there who's tracking MLW scoregamis. There just got to be.
Oh, there is. There is. I've seen them. I've seen the comments.
Okay. We need to get him on the pod.
I don't know who it is, but I've seen the comments before that, the games are no scoregamis.
Whoever you are, we salute you for your service.
Yeah. We'll find them. We'll find them.
But all right, thank you again to our friends over at ShedBall for sponsoring Fuzzy Numbers. Time for our slate predictions, Jack. So the Waffle House bet stands at 13-10 now because you predicted D-backs 2-1 exactly correct, and I had the Mallards 2-1. So that last loss definitely hurt me. But it's anyone's race at this point, and which is good. And I'm sure you're glad to be on top of this thing, given that you have no interest in those waffles down in Ohio.
No interest whatsoever. I will give a little. I'll say one quick tidbit about my trip to Hawaii. I sent Tom a picture of a breakfast I had one morning, and the caption just said "getting reps," and the picture was of 3.
Pop it up, PB. Pop it up.
3 fat pancakes for breakfast. I'm not normally a pancake guy for breakfast, but they look so good. I saw someone else order them, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. If that is any indication of what the waffle challenge is going to be, I'm going to be there for a long time. I was in pain. I usually have no problem finishing all the food on my plate, and that was like the most I've struggled to finish all my food in a while. I did have like a big dinner the night before too, so I wasn't necessarily like on an empty stomach, I would say. But it was a grind. So not looking forward to this Waffle House challenge, and yes, I'm happy that I'm still on top.
All right, well, you've led after both slates so far, and let's jump into slate 3 here a little bit. The tiebreaker this slate, guys, for if we both predict the same winner, same series outcome in terms of games won, will be over-under in hits in the series, and the number Jack and I have decided on is 13.5. That'll be the line. So, with that being said, Jack, I will lead this one off in Brooklyn. I'm going to take the Cats 3-0. I think the Cats sweep. And the Cobras, they don't have Sailor, which hurts, but I think PB really found it last series against the Preds. I expect him to throw well in front of the crowd in Brooklyn, and just not enough in the tank for this Cobra squad. I think the Cats are due for a breakout series here.
Yeah, I think the Cats will probably take care of business as well. I think the Cobs will find a way to eke one out. I got Cats 2-1.
Okay. Who do you got? Preds versus Gators.
This was a tough one. I thought about this one for a long time. And
we had some, we're not going to say what, but me and Jack had some inside scoop on roster knowledge as well.
We did have inside scoop on the roster knowledge. And because of that, I decided to go 2-1 Gators.
Yeah, that you did. I still went 2-1 Preds. They do have a missing piece in this series. That's all I'm going to say about it. Spoiler alert. A little behind the scenes action for the Pipe It Up listeners, but I'm going 2-1 Preds. They've got too many really, really talented parts that will be there. I think they still take care of business and win this series for the Preds. So Preds 2-1. Eagles versus D-backs. I'm going to go 2-1 D-backs in this one. The Eagles did get the best of them last year in the playoffs finally, but historically the D-backs have been dominant in this series, and I think they're out for revenge from last year, and I think they're playing really good wiffle ball right now. I expect the offense to bounce back. I'll go 2-1 D-backs.
Yeah, I thought about this one for a while too. I think just going like you said with history, I'm going to go 2-1 D-backs as well. Eagles have been playing great far, but I think they'll probably be a little bit of a regression back down to the rest of their division. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a really close series. Out of the 3 of these series, I feel like this is going to be the most exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for this video for sure. So tiebreaker, Jack. I think it's my turn to lead off. I hope.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna take the under on hits. I'm gonna go under 13.5. I think this is good pitching. The Eagles' offense is good, but Jimmy's great, and the D-backs offense didn't look all that great in Miami. So I'm gonna take the under.
Yep. I'm fine with the over. I think the bats are gonna pop.
All right. Well, the next tiebreaker is yours. To wrap it up, we have the pipe it up matchup. Magic versus Mallards. I think we know where this is headed.
Yeah.
This is gonna maybe ruffle some feathers. I'm gonna go 3-0 Mallards.
Oh,
sorry, not sorry.
You savage.
Yeah,
that is so disrespectful.
Is that just
because you're okay? Is that because you're just playing for the ultimate? Like, are you just doing this to spite me, or is it because you really want to make some headway in this Waffle House bet?
Well, yeah, I don't see you picking even 2-1 Mallards, so I'm not doing it to differentiate myself from your prediction per se. I think I'd be safe to be a 3-point swing if the Mallards do win 2-1 versus 3-0. I just think that all my guys we're still getting after it and practicing. We're hungry. We're disappointed we didn't get the offensive results in Miami. So, yeah, I liked what I saw from Jordan against RJ in last year's All-Star game. I thought I saw him pretty good too. So I like our chances, Jack, and we're going to try to sweep you guys. I mean, it is what it is.
Okay.
What can I say?
I mean, well, you would get an extra point if you got the outcome right.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it is, more risky because it's probably not as probable for you guys to
Maybe it's more risky going 2-1.
I mean, I'm going to say it on the podcast. Like I feel like that's disrespectful. I feel like that's disrespectful.
That's fair.
We haven't had, 2 fantastic series to start, but at the same time, we're still coming off a series win, still the defending champs.
It's all fair points.
So you're gonna have to come take this ring from me, Tom, if you want it. I'm gonna take the Magic 2-1. I'm not gonna disrespect the Mallards at all. I think they're a great.
Okay.
I think they're a great organization. Well led for the most part.
Better dressed.
Not better dressed. Definitely not better uniforms.
The wound.
No, actually, this might be the best uniform matchup of MLW's history. Maybe.
What are we doing? I don't know what it's going to be.
I really hope that we're in the black because whatever you guys wear will be fly. But I think our black.
Cool. Mallard green versus. We'll be green on green. It'll be the color rush matchup. Black jersey, black shorts for you guys. Green shirt, green shorts for us.
That could be the matchup of the league's history.
That could move mountains. I must say, I agree with you there. But all right, there you have it. So we're different there in 2 out of 4 of the series.
Yeah, this is a big slate.
So we got a big slate coming up here leading into the All-Star break.
What's the score again?
13-10 Agner is what I believe it is.
Boy.
PB, pop it up if I'm wrong on the screen, but I believe it's 13-10.
Oh boy,
Jack. So it's anyone's series, anyone's game at this point. And okay, Jack, give me the rundown on Hawaii. We got about 10 minutes left here, probably.
Yeah,
I want to know everything.
I'll keep it short and sweet. A lot of great beach time. Shout out to Olivia and Spencer for their wedding. It was awesome. Great time. Congratulations to them. I would say that if you do have the chance to travel there, depending on where you're going from, so traveling from Michigan, our flight was a direct flight from Detroit to Honolulu, which was like an 8.5 hour flight.
It's like going to Europe. Yeah.
It's very long. So because of that, I would say if you're kind of traveling that long, I would recommend trying to stay there for like a longer period if you can, if it's within your means to do so, because it felt like the week, we stayed there for a week and it felt like as soon as I was like in the time change, adapted to the time change, then I left. And so like today was a grind coming back to work because we didn't get home yesterday. Like I didn't get back to my apartment till 10 in the morning local time here. Didn't sleep on the flight at all. I'm not a very good plane sleeper. Hard to get comfy on those things. So I basically crashed when I got home, slept till about 6:00, and then I couldn't fall asleep again until like 2 in the morning.
I wonder why.
So
I'm surprised you fell asleep at 2, to be honest. That's not that bad.
Yeah, it was a grind, but I mean the trip was like unbelievable. It's literally like what you see in the movies. Like it's a spectacular place. We were on Maui, so there's obviously multiple islands in Hawaii, but that was the only one we made it to, and it was awesome. If you ever get the opportunity to go, I would highly recommend it. Highly recommend.
You don't gotta twist my arm on that. All right, so give me the best. I'm a foodie. Give me the best meal you had.
Ooh.
And then give me maybe the coolest thing you saw.
Yeah, so the meal, definitely the best meal was the one that they served at the actual wedding that we were at.
Oh, cool.
So the first course of the appetizer was, I would describe it as like drunken noodles. Have you ever had those before? They're kind of like,
I've seen it on the menu. Remind me what it is. They're
kind of like, they're thicker noodles with, whatever kind of meat that you want in them and like vegetables and kind of like this, they literally call it like drunken sauce. I don't know if that's what it was called on the menu, but it's very good. You can get them at like...
I mean, I like pasta, so you had me at noodles.
Yeah, it's very good. And then the main meat on the island is actually pork, and so it's very popular for places to serve like pork quesadillas. This was the best quesadilla I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow,
I'm not even kidding.
Oh,
not even close.
Love food.
So, and then the main course was some rice and different types of fish. So it was like crusted mahi and some ahi, some seared ahi with some sesame on it. Absolutely delicious. The desserts, I don't even know what to call them other than just like glorious. They were amazing. I don't even know what they were.
Glorious. I don't hear you use that adjective too much.
They were so awesome.
So I know it was good.
And then the coolest thing I saw when I went snorkeling, and
that's so cool. I've never done that before.
There was a group of people who had gone snorkeling like the day before me, and I didn't get to go that day, but I went out the next day, and everybody was talking about how they saw turtles when they were out snorkeling and how cool it was. And I was coming in from kind of my snorkeling adventure, and I was really close to shore. Like I was pretty much done. I was kind of just swimming in, and I was still peeking in the water because I was like, why not? And I had the thought to myself, I was like, man, I saw a bunch of really cool fish, some cool coral. The only thing I really didn't see was a turtle. And like as I'm having that thought, I kind of like look to my left, and there's just a turtle swimming like right at me. And
that's so
it was so cool. And he got really close to me. Like he probably got within like six feet of me. And
this is like a big sea turtle, right?
Big sea turtle. Yeah. And he like kind of coasted by me, like went up, like popped his head up for some air and then went back down.
Give him a pound noggin.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. That was the coolest thing I saw.
That's so sweet, dude. I would love to go out there one day, hopefully sooner rather than later, but definitely no joke. But I'm glad that you and your buddies got to experience a wedding out there. I'm sure the wedding was awesome. That's like a dream for sure.
Fun fact.
We love fun facts.
Fun fact. This was a very, small wedding. I think there was less than 20 people there. But 2 of those people actually play in MLW.
That's true.
So Brennan Russell was there on behalf of the groom. He's very good friends with the groom. I was really there because of my wife's relationship with the bride being really good friends. So kind of funny how that worked out, but yeah.
Did you guys talk about wiffle ball in Hawaii? I need to know that answer.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. 100%.
Of course you did.
Yep.
I love that. Well, glad you had a good time. I'm sure I'll hear more about it later, but that's such a cool experience. I'm jealous, a little bit jealous. I almost went to Yellowstone for a quick vacay, but it ended up working out. So who knows when my next cool trip will be. I guess we shall see, but I don't anticipate it being this year. Maybe next year I'll go somewhere cool. We'll see. But that's pretty much a wrap, guys. So we had a Sunday upload this week. I believe this Friday we'll be back to regular scheduled programming with the Brooklyn series between the Wildcats and the Cobras. Should be a good one. The venue looked really cool. The players had a great time out there, so I'm excited for you all to see that video. But for now, thank you for tuning in. As always, Ryan Cratch can drive a golf ball over 300 yards consistently. We will see you all next Wednesday.
Pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up.